In 1949, after two devastating world wars, and with the threat of the Cold War looming, 10 European countries, the United States of America and Canada, entered into one of the world's most defining military alliances by signing the North Atlantic Treaty. In the 75 years since then, the North Atlantic Treaty Organization, or NATO, has grown to 32 members, bound by the words of the treaty's own Article 5. An attack against one shall be considered an attack against all. NATO leaders have been confronted with many questions over the years. Who do we add to the alliance? How do we respond to the threat of nuclear war? Who should lead us? And of course, the big one, why is Trains Are Awesome bringing up NATO? Well, it's July 2024, and since the organization has existed for 75 years, the NATO Summit is being held in Washington, D.C. The District of Columbia is no stranger to road closures and traffic disruptions. Parades, motorcades, First Amendment activities, they're all as common as the suffocating summer heat. But this NATO Summit is affecting more than just the streets. It has closed entire neighborhoods, like the Federal Triangle and Mount Vernon Square. Even the DC Metro is running differently because of it, and that's what we're going to take a look at today. But first, let's look at one of those neighborhoods on a normal day.
So right now I'm standing in the neighborhood known as the Federal Triangle. All around me you see office buildings. You've got the IRS, the EPA, Department of Justice, even some DC city buildings. This is the Federal Triangle on a normal day. Actually, it's a little bit quieter than a normal day, but when the NATO Summit is here, it'll look more like this. And I won't be allowed to be here. And this is the Federal Triangle today on Tuesday, July 9th of 2024, when the NATO Summit is happening. Behind me, you can see a building that is the Departmental Auditorium of the General Services Administration, also known as the Andrew Mellon Auditorium. In that building in 1949, the North Atlantic Treaty was signed. North Atlantic Treaty, of course, is what the North Atlantic Treaty Organization is named after. And so today, all these heads of state, all these NATO officials are meeting in the auditorium where it first happened. And because of that, the Federal Triangle is pretty much completely closed off for pedestrians and vehicles.
So of course that means several bus routes have detours.
I just want to say the 4th of July parade was last week. We've got the road closures today. I kind of like Constitution Avenue without cars on it.
Okay, cool, but what does any of that still have to do with trains and the Washington Metro?
Well, let's find out. I'm at Metro Center Station, and I'm about to ride the blue, orange, or silver line in the direction of L'Enfant Plaza. Now, under normal circumstances, the next station would be Federal Triangle. But today is Tuesday, July 9th, and of course the NATO Summit is happening in the Federal Triangle area, so really there's no reason for the trains to stop there. So instead of stopping, the trains are running express through Federal Triangle. Now, express service on the Washington Metro is very rare. There's no scheduled express service, and even during delays, I hardly ever see it, so I'm really excited to ride an express train on the Washington Metro. Look, in between Metro Center and Smithsonian, normally there'd be Federal Triangle, but not today.
So I actually rode this section of track twice that day. The first time, the train said it was going to stop at Federal Triangle, but right before approaching the station, the robo lady said, "Skipping next stop." Then the system resets and it says that Smithsonian is the next stop. And I have to say, it's pretty funny to be on a moving train that says when boarding, move to the center of the car. But as you can see, we're running through Federal Triangle Station pretty slowly, but definitely not stopping. My very first time riding a DC Metro train that doesn't stop somewhere. And of course, about 30 seconds later, we arrive at Smithsonian Station. Now, we actually then went back to ride it again just to get some more footage. This was a little bit after 8 p.m. and this time something weird happened. So I was a little bit confused. Why did the doors open? Did the operator just forget he was supposed to skip the stop? Could people sneak into the summit now? But then I checked the WMATA website and it turns out they had actually reopened Federal Triangle Station around 8 p.m. Which is weird because the station was supposed to be closed all day. Now I don't mind that it reopened, but I did wonder why they would do that. It seems a little bit strange to me if you're telling everybody it's going to be closed all day to then open it at 8 p.m. I mean, you have to pay for staff to be there and everything, and I just don't think anybody was really planning to use the station.
Now I'm at L'Enfant Plaza, where you can transfer to the green and yellow lines. We're going to take the yellow line northbound. Normally the yellow line goes to Mount Vernon Square, but Mount Vernon Square and the convention center there, that's where the majority of the NATO Summit is being held. Yellow line trains are terminating not at Mount Vernon Square, but at Gallery Place, Chinatown. It's so weird to see that sign say Gallery Place.
Remember, Federal Triangle Station was only closed Tuesday, July 9th, while Mount Vernon Square Station is closed July 9th, 10th, and 11th.
Be advised there will be no train service at Mount Vernon Square. The last stop on the Yellow Line train will be Gallery Place, Chinatown. Once again, there is no train service at Mount Vernon Square due to a special event. Since the last stop of the Yellow Line train will be out of service on the platform.
So once the Yellow Line trains arrive at Gallery Place, security personnel both inside and outside the train sweep the train to make sure there are no stragglers left on board. Then the train will continue empty to Mount Vernon Square, where a few WMATA staff members do have permission to be on the platform to facilitate the turning around of the trains, which happens at a tail track past the station.
Nice job, Andy. Well, the yellow line is empty and it's going to run to Mount Vernon Square empty, turn around in the regular tail track, and then go back to Huntington. We're gonna get on a green line train to bypass Mount Vernon Square.
Step back, doors open. 6 Mount Vernon Square. 7th Street, Convention Center, the last transfer station to the yellow line. Doors opening on the left.
Now we're running through Mount Vernon Square Station at a decently high speed. I was kind of surprised, and it's only a matter of seconds before we arrive at the next stop, Shaw Howard University. The metro does go significantly fast between stops. It's the station stops that slow the trains down so much. Although the recent reintroduction of automatic doors does help a little bit. I wish we had the infrastructure to support more express service.
That one was weird. They didn't even make an announcement. Not the driver, not the robo lady. It just went through and pretty fast too. And now we're at Shaw Howard University Station. That's pretty much all for the video. The next time that geopolitics and local public transportation intersect, we'll be there again. Until then, subscribe to Trains Are Awesome for all the great content that we have in the meantime. We'll see you next time.
Once again, please be advised, trains will not service Mount Vernon Square. Mount Vernon Square will be closed until Thursday to the summit. Once again, trains will not service Mount Vernon Square. Next station will be Gallery Place.